this presentation. And it's both a culmination, but also a promise of a, I don't know, like a hopeful beginning. I guess because this is also, or this is going to serve as a fine arts department get together, right? After 2 years of online classes, right, because of the pandemic, now we're welcoming everyone. And then I think that's a really great opportunity for all of us to celebrate
Yes.
this whole
Can't you
thing.
see my tears of joy? Tears of joy yan. Tears of joy. And sorrow, kasi ngayon kailangan ko na gumising 3 hours before class. Instead of uupo lang sa kama and then on yung Zoom. Diba? Pero we're so happy that we're back. We're finally getting back. So next week, start na tayo ng intercession. And finally, yung mga seniors natin, you will finally be able to graduate na hindi
Right.
na online. Diba? Nung pipicture kayo sa tabi ng TV nyo. Ngayon, nasa stage na kayo. Your parents must be so happy.
Right. So I guess tama-tama talaga yung occasion, di ba? Like
Yes.
it's a culmination, it's a beginning. So we're right in the middle of the second semester and the previous semester and intercession,
In the start of the
in the
yes.
start of the new school year.
Yes,
Right?
exactly.
Okay.
And then, hold on. We're also being joined by our
Yes.
friends from Zoom. Hello, Zoom people. Punta na kayo dito. Face-to-face is the new thing now.
Okay. So, ano next? Well, maybe we could start already.
Yeah,
right?
let's go. Let's begin.
Okay, welcome remarks. We're going to have our welcome remarks. There is a recorded video of Dr. Agustin Martin Gus Rodriguez, OIC, Office of the Dean, School of Humanities. So let's listen to his welcome address. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to give this opening message to your super important Fine Arts Festival 2022, and maybe including 2021, right? Because this brings together the works for those 2 years. And I'm so happy that you're actually going to be able to present it in Arete. What a dream, right? I mean, anything you can do in Arete that has to do with presenting your art should be a great thrill. And I wanted to be there. I really wanted to be there because, you know, the arts are really very close to my heart. If there's anything that I really love, and if there's anything that shaped my life, it's the arts. It's the fine arts, really. The finest arts have made me who I am today. So I really want to say, first of all, congratulations to you guys. Great job um, having the courage to be in that field. Okay, huwag niyo na tanong kung bakit courage. Pero the great courage to be in that field for so many reasons, which I will not elaborate kasi konti lang yung time. But I hope you indulge me a few minutes for these opening remarks because I want to say something to all you graduating fine arts students and to the practitioners of the fine arts who have helped you and participated in your development and growth. And it's this, okay? You know what? Today's 20, I mean, it's 2022, right? And it's been, what, how many years since EDSA and so many years since I was in school, right? But you know what? When I was graduating and I was your age, well, you're a little bit older because you're K to 12, right? But when I was graduating and about your age, you know, I faced the same things you're facing. It's so weird, but it's so deja vu, right? I mean, this is, I don't know if this even counts as deja vu because deja vu, you have a feeling that you've been here before. But actually, I've been here before and it's happening again, right? Like in my time, we were living under the shadow of martial law. Now, no matter how you would like to interpret martial law, the fact is it was a scary time. It was a scary time for people who believed in truth, freedom of speech, and the desire to live a good democratic life in the safety of reliable institutions, right? And that was a really fearsome time. It was a really fearful time. And that's why when Digong, was voted president, it was kind of a flashback for me, right? But then not just that, it's like we're back to the Cold War. Hello, diba? Russia is invading Ukraine. NATO is in the verge of, maybe on the verge of World War III. We felt that too. We lived in the Cold War, you know. We lived with the reality and the possibilities of nuclear annihilation from both sides. And you hear it, you know, you hear it again these days, right? And in my time, it was like everywhere. There were news about, there was news about how nations were falling under the shadow of tyranny and dictatorship and oppressive governments, and it's happening all over the world again. There's a reassertion of the right and of totalitarian and authoritarian regimes, and it seems that people are in the midst of it, and people actually do desire it, and it's amazing because, you know, after EDSA, after Marcos, after the fall of the USSR, and after the fall of all of those regimes, I thought that was it. That it would be a better time and never again, right? But here we are again. Anyway, I don't want to be. I don't want to. Sorry, I'm not scaring you. Okay, I just wanted to say, like, you know what? During those times, even in the darkest times, during EDSA, during Marcos and all of that, it was so easy to just give in, you know, just give in to the horror, and just give into the corruption, and just give into the violence, and just participate in it, or just let it happen, or what, you know. But that whole time, when I was a student, one thing really made me understand that there was something better, that the world didn't have to be this way, that violence, corruption, human degradation was not necessarily the way that we ought to be as human beings. And it challenged me, you know, and I was always challenged to try to participate in the building of a better world. And you know what that was? Can I show you something? I will share lang my screen, ha. Anyway, you're my captive audience, pero it's important for me, sorry. It's this. Okay. Um, oh, sorry, pangit pala. Yan. Yeah. So, there. I'm sorry. I'm sure yung mga ID dyan na shock kasi ang pangit ng composition or ng laying out. But my point is this, okay? Guys, when I was your age, I was spent most of my days in the reserve section. What we call the reserve section there was actually also sharing space with Ateneo Art Gallery. Okay? And all my days, syempre, I was a poor student. So I spent my days staring at art while studying for philo kasi I couldn't afford to Xerox the stuff. But anyway, here, this is not exactly what I was staring at. But these are the things I grew up with. Art. You know, every day I would see this. Agnes Arellano, Manansala, Baen Santos, Julie Luch Dalena, you know, Fernandez, right? And these works of art, sorry kung pangit yung mga reproductions, ito lang mahanap ko, pero I just wanted to show you Ben Cab, Brenda Fajardo, these people made me aware that this human degradation, this destruction of the human spirit, this negation of our being humans had a way, was ought not to be, and it always called me to try to find a way, a Filipino way of responding to this degradation. And then there was this, you know, film, right? I grew up with these films. Sister Stella L, Challenge Us, and Batch 81, Kidlat Tahimik. Oh my God, the first time I saw Kidlat Tahimik, it opened the world for me of seeing, of nationalism, of digging deep into what it means into my loob as a human being, right? Tinimbang kang ngunit kulang, opened my eyes when I was 8 years old to injustice, you know? And then there was music. There was Asin, there was Susan Magno, there was Inang Laya, there was Joey Ayala when he was still a great poet, you know? Anyway, sorry, but I just had to show you that you know what? Throughout all those times of darkness and fear and the desire to just give up and give it up. There was great theater, there was great poetry, there were the novels that came at that time, Dualhati Bautista, Yuson, all these things from the art. Art reminded me that it was a good thing to be human, that it was possible in the darkest times to be human. And to be human in the darkest times is to find your humanity and to really dig deep into what touches into the depths of our loob as a people. And I think artists do that. So congratulations, you're in that field, right? You're in the greatest field in the world that will pay you least. Joke lang. Yung mga idea yaman, don't worry. But you know what I'm saying? It's just a great thing to be in that field, whether it's for you will not maybe make money, it won't reward you very much financially, it won't make you famous. Maybe no one will even see your art or read your works, but what matters is that you do it, that you create it, because as you work, as you participate in this great task, which is art, you participate in the reality, in the task, of just continuing to remind people and deepening our understanding of what it means to be us, and what it means to be good, and what it means to really build a world where people can flourish as human beings. Okay. Sorry, but I don't know kung mahaba yun, but I just really needed to say that. I needed to say that because, flashback, we're back to those times, but the only real response to getting past these dark times in our lives and realizing that they're not really that dark, because beyond it all, there's our humanity. The only way to get through it is through art. So keep creating it, keep participating in its doing, in its creating, and in its being. So thank you very much. Congratulations, all you guys there who are presenting, and I hope to be able to see your work soon.
Thank you so much, Doc Gus. So next, we're going to move to the different awards that we want to highlight today. We have a number of accomplishments, by members of the Fine Arts Department that we'd like to feature. Okay, so we'll start with the Service Awards from the 44th University Service Awards. We have Maria Victoria T. Herrera. Glenn Sevilla Mas. Carl Joe Javier. And of course, F. Llanaresas.
And then moving forward, we have the Loyola School's Creative Works and Scholarly Work Awards. The University Scholarly Work Awards 2022. We have Missy Vera M. Maramara for Destroy Everything You Touch, lead actor. Melissa Vera M. Maramara, supporting or second lead actor for section Saint Valentine, Disappearance of Divine. Alfred Benedict C. Marasigan, exhibitor non-solo, Spectral Archives, Summoning of Archival Ghosts. And Omehen. Omehen, ang painting ni Michael. And Omehen, Sayaw sa Papel. The BAOANG directory Hoopla Index, and the BAOANG directory. Naughty lose.
For University Scholarly Publication Awardees, we have Eric Akpedenu, Geronimo F. Cristobal Jr., and Christine Althea L. De Leon.
Father Jason, KD, Nature is Never Spent, and Arrange, Enliven. Carlomar A. Dawana, Selection of Poems.
And now we'll move on to the Loyola School Awards for the Arts for school year 2021-2022. We have several awardees, students of the Fine Arts Department. We have Princess Angela D. Cole for nonfiction. Next, we have Maria Patricia Regina A. Larga for fiction. And then Sydney Megan M. Mangubat for nonfiction. For the screen arts, we have Marie Catherine Gayapanao for production, Robert Bradley Howe for directing. For the visual arts, we have Francis Dio Calpatura for graphic design, Patricia Grace Fermin for graphic design, Julia Clara Lopez for illustration, Aitana Therese Nelias for graphic design and illustration, Alexis J. Wang for photography. And last but not least, we have Audrey Daphne Adarme for performance, dance.
Let's give a round of applause for all of our awardees.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the presentation of one of the major programs of the Fine Arts Department. We'll have one of dear faculty members of the Fine Arts Department, Tipay Warren, to present the thesis and creative works of CEW majors for fiction, nonfiction, and poetry tracks.
Hello. Cool. So magsispeech ako ng konti, okay? Para may magandang warm up sa ating mga very very hardworking, very talented and very brave CW seniors. And I'm going to read because my eyesight's very bad and over 2 years of online classes, medyo bumalik yung stage fright ko. So, wish me luck. Anyway, a couple of days ago, Martin asked if I would be willing to introduce some BFA-CW volunteer readers and explain to the attendees here at the Fine Arts Festival how the creative writing thesis process goes. Maybe it's relevant that I disclaim that I am among the most junior of the thesis advisors for this batch. In fact, this was my very first time to take on the duty of a thesis advisor, and up until the very end of the process, it gave me anxiety and it scared me shitless. But having gone through the gamut of languishing on a thesis project myself in recent years, I know that it consists of two things at its core: First is the compilation of a manuscript of original works in the student's chosen genre, in which case it's fiction, nonfiction, poetry, and playwriting. And second, the engagement of one's personal poetics through a critical essay, which, put simply, answers core questions about the student's creative process, like, what do I write? How do I write? And why do I write? Most of us in this crowd have creative interests, and we may understand that it's more than a little weird when someone asks us if there's a deep or substantial reason to why we write, draw, design, act, sing, play music, take photographs, and the like. In the moment, the right answer is really usually just, basta! And then we leave it at that, di ba? But at least as far as the creative writing thesis process goes, there's no escape from the self-introspection, the historicizing, and just generally the deliberateness of writing, as well as writing about writing. If we put it simply, as thesis advisors, we mostly want our students to come away with a greater ownership of the things they wish to do in their writing, as well as a little more conviction about the creative choices they're willing to make for themselves. But of course, all of us here know that the circumstances in which these projects saw their completion was far from simple, because there's no dancing around it. We live in a shit sack world. We have been ravaged by the global pandemic. Our national history is being violently revised in front of us by murderers, plunderers, tyrants, and agents of disinformation. And in the thick of it all, you guys, our fine arts students, were deprived of the healthy support systems and environments that usually characterize ordinary campus life. And together, we were all enjoined to go through paradigm shift after paradigm shift of online learning. Speaking at least for my thesis class, I know that last year was not an easy year. For all that it is often romanticized, the writing life can often be a miserable and isolated one. It seemed dishonest to assume that all of us could simply pick up on our lives and go about the examination of our respective creative processes in a calm and precise manner, while the world was literally being destroyed around us. And I think I have to acknowledge that a lot of the time, we were severely disillusioned, discouraged, and doubtful about what we could actually achieve with our short stories, novelettes, essays, poems, and plays. I got the sense that it was not simply about asking our seniors to think about what they could do with their writing practice and assuming that they would just write their way from point A to point B. And, before we know it now, the year is already over. At the beginning of the year, we really had to start from the darkest depths and from the most impenetrable cores. We had to ask the questions of, why exactly does this give me joy again? Does my writing have a point? Am I actually going to have a future with my writing at a time that the arts are being devalued, if not outright criminalized? And of course, more difficult yet, we had to answer several of those questions in real time. Often I think we were demoralized, we were afraid to look into ourselves as well as grapple with the world around us, and we didn't know if we could actually fall back in love with our writing in the same innocent way that we may have loved it before. These past 2 years have changed everything, as well as made the regular difficulties of the writing process even more difficult. I am not going to pretend otherwise, and I'm sure our students wouldn't either. But after all this has been said, I just want to say that I am extremely humbled and proud of what our creative writing seniors have been able to do this year after all that was stacked up against them. At the end of it all, I am so grateful that they have written bravely, truthfully, thoughtfully, and compassionately, hopefully with a little less fear of bringing their words out in the open. And momentously, they have written to a point of completion for projects that span tens of thousands of words. The work spanned their personal lives, politics, fantasy worlds, the real world, humans, animals, students, adults, dark themes, and hopeful themes. And I think that all of these together represent a rich and honest spectrum of what makes life a little fuller, more complicated, and worth changing for ourselves and for other people. We've got some pretty dark times ahead of us, and as the old adage goes, tomorrow is not promised. But with full knowledge of that, our senior writers have still chosen to share parts of themselves, to engage with the imaginations of others, to start difficult conversations, and to align their writing with other meaningful work they can do inside and outside of the creative sector. For that reason, even though I'm now quite conservative about the faith that I put into other things, I have deep faith in what our students in the program can do in their chosen fields in the coming years if they have weathered through this project and remain true to themselves, their practice, and the communities. I thank them endlessly for working with us like this and helping us to carefully but stubbornly carve the way forward. Without further ado, I am proud to introduce our volunteer readers Sergey, Vince, Maki, Elise, and Sid to show you the culmination of the work they've been doing for the better part of the year. Congratulations, you guys, and I hope all of us here, we savor both the words themselves and the time we now have with each other to hear them in person again. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sergey Lim po from BFA Creative Writing, fiction writer. Disclaimer lang po, this is a funny one. So the goal of my thesis was to explore how different forms of voices, different kinds of people can show themselves and express themselves in different ways. The excerpt that I'm about to read out to you now, focuses on a member of the older generation, somebody who's more of a tita of Manila, who tries to connect with her loved ones and try to reach them out, but she hasn't quite figured it out. But ever since the dawn of the pandemic, we have all focused on courier services, Shopee, Lazada, online shopping to find their way in this weird pandemic world. And this tita is no different. So I would ask you to close your eyes, but that would defeat the point of being here. So I would invite you to imagine your own computer at home right now, checking your own email. And this is greeting cards. So, subject, your delivery receipt, reference number 454203084, from Card, from noreply@card.com. Dear valued client, thank you for choosing Card. See? Your parcel has been delivered to 1A Cruise in Caloocan City on November 9, 2020. The package contains one dark blue scarf and one greeting card. The front reads, "Be careful with your words. Once they are said, they can be forgiven but not forgotten." Carl Sandburg. The back reads, "To A Cruz from C. Rivera." Angela, I am writing to you because I just remembered that your birthday passed a few days ago. Happy birthday, inaanak. You are now 16 years old, and the Lord has been kind to bless you with the intelligence of your father, the voice of your mother, and the grace of your ninang. For your birthday, I wish that you be careful, ha? I saw that some of your pictures on Facebook, they are very provocative. I get that the times are different, but the last thing I want is to have some internet stranger see you like that. It is just too much. The public eye is a very mean one, inaanak. I once signed up for a contest back in college. I had to wear shorts above the knees. How humiliating it was for me. I met your mother, but that is an exception. It never hurts to be careful nowadays. My present for you is something more sensible. I'm told it goes well with subtle colors. Ninang. Don't want to receive e-receipts? Click here in the settings. Hashtag get the gift card with card. Hashtag card giving safely. Subject, your delivery receipt, reference number 815-717-098 from Card. From noreply@card.com. Dear valued client, thank you for choosing Card, see? Your parcel has been delivered to A Cruise in Caloocan City on October 13, 2020. The package contains one box of condoms and one greeting card. The front reads, "Be safe. The back reads, to A. Cruz from C. Rivera. Inaanak, I am truly sorry, ha? I didn't mean to embarrass you so. Your mother told me about the secondhand embarrassment you felt from my last letter. You know that I'm just looking out for you, ha? There are times when I overstep, but it's all for you. I will try my best to be more sensitive of your boundaries. That said, if you continue to dress as you do, I do recommend that you always keep one of these handy. It's just in case, of course. Do not tell me that your mother that I'm encouraging you to have sex. I just want you to be smart and especially safe, Ninang. Don't want to receive e-receipts? Click here to change in settings. Hashtag get a gift card with card. Hashtag card giving safely. Thank you.
Okay. Hello? Hello? Okay. Hello, everyone. Yes, it's been a while since I've been in front of people. So, I'm Vince Manesse from 4 BFA Creative Writing. And my thesis collection is about cats. Yes, like literally. Why did I write it? I wrote it because I came from a time where I was feeling down about my writing, and I wanted to sort of reaffirm why I wrote and like what I wanted to write about. So I wanted to write about cats. Yes. The story I will write. The story I will read about is my first story in the collection, Whipped Cream, and it's based on a time I went to a cat cafe for the first time here in the Philippines. So yeah, I'll be reading the first page. Okay. That Saturday afternoon, Whipped Cream found herself lying cozily atop the coffee counter of Le Cat Cafe. It was about to open, and the busiest time for her was about to start. She let out an enormous yawn and rolled herself with her belly up. The lady that owned this cafe, Tita Bella, was checking around the 4 tables that took up the lounge portion, making sure that everything was in place. After checking that everything was in order, she went up to Whipped Cream and scratched the side of her neck in soft strokes. Whipped Cream purred and closed her eyes, extending her neck to allow for lengthier scritches. Now you be good, Whipped Cream. My niece is going to come over here and work. She continued to spoil Whipped Cream, changing the pace and the way of each stroke as she spoke. You know, ever since my niece was little, she was always so joyful to be around. But these days she's been a little bit gloomy, especially after Tita Bella's thoughts wandered off a bit, but Whipped Cream wasn't paying any particular attention to her. She only mewed in reply and continued to bask on the counter. The darling feline savored the sunlight that poured through the glass store windows. Add the sensation of the gentle scritches, and Whipped Cream was transported to her own blissful paradise. The bell hanging on the glass entrance rang, and Whipped Cream's ears twitched towards it. A girl with a messy bun walked through. Tita Bella pulled away her hand to greet the new visitor, and Whipped Cream's head tried to follow, to no avail. Thank you.
Is this working? All right, hello everyone. My name is Maki Salonga from 4 BFA Creative Writing. My thesis collection is based around one thing. It's not whether about there are stories that are meant to be told, but rather if they're being told at all. I named my collection The Harshest Realities is because there are stories that nobody thinks that they should be writing about, but I decided to write them about them anyway because they feel like that they deserve the same spotlight as other themes that are usually found in fiction pieces. This excerpt is from my first story, which is about a healthcare employee forced to work overtime by his overbearing boss, and this is towards the climax. So I hope you enjoy. I put down my phone and collected my thoughts. Was all Johnny was saying true? Did Sir Randy really push everyone here too far? Was he that abusive? Forcing people like me to work overtime out of spite? I took another look at the paperwork that I had worked on. While reading all the documents, I realized that there was a reason Sir Randy told me to finish them. They were worked on by those who were forced to work more hours than what was necessary, separating them from their families and their lives outside the office. And now the same thing was about to happen to me. It was like the papers were telling me to stand up for myself. In fairness, I should have seen this coming. But since I spontaneously forgot I could trust Johnny, it was not that clear before. He was a good friend of mine, but hearing those words for the first time made me think that he was becoming stressed out. However, now that Sir Randy's attitude towards me would never change, I could understand it. I put down the papers, got up out of my chair, and made a beeline for Sir Randy's office. I now had a purpose, to insist that he let me go early and figure out what the heck was going on with his policies. Nobody could tell me when and how I was supposed to work here. There was a reason I got this job in the first place, to provide for my family and get them a chance to live well. They couldn't do the latter if I stayed here. When I opened the door, I saw Sir Randy sitting comfortably in his fancy chair. I got in my face and told him, "Sir, I have to go now." "Why, Anton? Is your wife giving birth or something?" Sir Randy scoffed at me. "No, I have to see her and my kids right now. I'm sick of working here only because you told me to." "And why? Did you even finish what I asked you?" Sir Randy kept dismissing my plea. "Of course not. Just like the other people you forced to stay late under impossible circumstances." Heh, what a petty man you have become. Refusing to work overtime only hours after you accepted my offer. Now I've seen it all. Don't give me some crap excuse of why I should let you go early. Besides, I'm not gonna pay you if you do, Sir Randy boasted, clearly showing no concern for what I was going through. "Sir, I am not kidding. I heard our profits were down last quarter, so we're resorting to forced labor to keep the profit margins up without any concern for your employees. This is uncalled for. I have to leave now." "Profits are down? That is nonsense. Our profits in this quarter were triple that amount. What makes you think you have the right to leave this office without permission? Are you certain that you're just complaining because you have not gotten any work done? Because if I were you, I would sit down, keep working, and show me that you're committed to this job by finishing off my paperwork," Sir Randy fired back. "Your paperwork? Since when was all of these yours? What about the people who printed those reports? Aren't you going to give them any credit for what they did?" I was fuming, knowing that Sir Randy would give himself the credit for the work of others. "Mr. Ramos, don't you dare talk about how I treat people like you. You work for me. You make money for me. You conduct yourself in a professional manner for me. And as far as I'm concerned, you take orders from me. And right now, I'm ordering you to get back to work and finish those reports." Sir Randy looked like a volcano waiting to erupt. I could hear him loud and clear, but I did not listen. Was he not aware that the lives of the 3 people I care for more than anyone in the world were more important than those reports? If he's that big of a family man, why would he want to separate other family members from each other? "Sir, I have worked for the past 14 hours without any rest. I need to see if my wife and kids are okay." "Well, I need to make sure that if my money is okay." "Sure, I underestimate the company's finances from time to time, but I know that these figures are the truth, and I will do anything to get them up again," Sir Randy retorted with an unimpressed look. "See, times like these are the reason you give me a hard time here. You only care about the dollar bill and not about the safety of your fellow workers. Why do you look up to your family when you don't want us to do the same? My wife and kids need me, but all you care about is how many reports I need to finish tonight. And besides, could you have shown the least bit of concern for the workers you forced to work overtime for no reason? You just said profits tripled. Why are you suddenly worried about them going down?" "I can't believe I ever worked for a hypocrite like you," I argued. "I just wanted to make sure that my loved ones were okay. But if Sir Randy could not understand that, I would need to do something drastic." "Well, congratulations on the revelation. How long did that take you? 30 seconds? Because the last time I checked, you were willing to work for me. So I don't care about the welfare of your wife and kids. Either you go back to work and clean up after my leftovers, or I'm not paying you." Sir Randy was adamant that I return to my desk. I was adamant that I would see my wife and kids. Nobody was going to come out of this argument very enthusiastic about themselves, so I had to take a stand. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you. Ayan. Hello, ako po si Elise. At paumanhin po at sisimulan ko sa medyo masamang balita yung aking pagbabasa. 2 days ago, around 90 farmers, peasant advocates, artists, and activists were illegally arrested by the inutile and landlord bootlicking police in Hacienda Tinang, Tarlac. 83 remain detained as of today for the supposed crime of asserting the farmers' right to land. This, unfortunately, is only a taste of what's to come under the incoming Marcos Duterte regime. Our material conditions will only worsen through the theft and exploitative practices of the ruling class, and any attempt to fight back will be met with state repression. My poetry collection, Memento, while having been written as a response to the outgoing Duterte regime, is an attempt to resist this sort of oppressive status quo. It is, while imperfect, my small contribution to the struggle to liberate ourselves from the root problems of imperialism, feudalism, and bureaucrat capitalism. As an organizer, it is where I have written all that I have learned over the past 4 years, to be militant with regard to my convictions, to question my self-interests, and to imagine a future radically, one that I both wish to see and am preparing myself to give my life to, should the need arise. So I have 2 poems. The first is entitled, Listahan ng mga landlord at komprador na sisingilin balang araw. Alicia P. Lorenzo, Elizabeth Kokongwe, Fredesvinda Almeda Consunji, George S.K.T., Ignacio B. Jimenez, Jose Marichan, Joselito and Olivia Campos, Joseph and Gemma Tanbuntong, Soledad V. Pangilinan, Susan and Ernesto Tanmanchong, the Chingtans, the Chungtes, William and Claire Tan Unchong, William L.C. Ang susunod na tula ay pinamagatang Chedek. Mantsa ng dugo sa pulang bulaklak. Ang pinugutang ulo ni Cynthia Villar sa loob ng plastic na bag. Mga magsasakang nagtatanim ng palay, kasama ng mga estudyanteng mula sa Maynila. Eskwelahan ng mga batang sumasabit dati sa jeep. Ang nabubulok na kalansay ni Bongbong Marcos, nanginangat-ngat ng mga aso sa loob ng kulungan. Ang pag-aresto kay Ramon Ang sa harap ng Ilog Pasig. Puwang para sa mga dating maralita sa pagdemolish ng bawat Ayala malls. Mga pagawaang mas komportable pa kesa sa gusali ng Senado. Ang ihip ng hangin sa dating Camp Crame, na gamit ngayon ng isang bagong hukbo. Ang pagbuhos ng ulan, ng ipaglaban, ang lipunang maaasahang maging makatarungan. Salamat po.
Hi, I'm Sid Mangubat, and today I'll be reading an excerpt from my essay, Stop Crying Your Heart Out. So I wrote this essay when I was really burnt out from school and everything else, and I was really restless for the pandemic to end. And also I had a lot of longing in seeing friends na 2 years ko na hindi nakita, most of which nakita ko today. But ayun, even more longing for the version of myself before the pandemic. And yung essay na to, it represents yung the attempt ko in trying to cope. But yes. Later tonight, I might find myself again on the same floor, my face buried in my arms, falling to my own embrace. I will think about calling a friend, Ask, can you talk? They'll say yes, I know it, which is why I won't do it. I might never put the phone down. Disconnecting myself from peers has since been routine, a habit I find difficult to unlearn. On my phone, I download an app called Worry Dolls. In it, you write your worries, those that weigh on you, and give it to a small doll who will carry that worry for you. Despite their bright and patterned clothes, the dolls have a melancholic feel to them. They're unhappy, they're worrying for you. I type, I am worried because my friends might think I'm too much. I don't know what's sadder, me having this app or me being convinced my friends will think I'm needy. From my bedroom on the second floor, I can tell my mother is busy preparing dinner from the scent of melted butter, climbing up my window from our outdoor kitchen. I hear Carol King's Way Over Yonder, her serene and entrancing voice playing from my mother's speakers. The sound is faint, but I hear it vividly through memory. The song echoes in me as if it is playing directly from my room, like those transitions in film, when a song heard from a protagonist's stereo or phone is slowly amplified and becomes the accompanying soundtrack to the next scene. I've come to know the song by heart and really almost every song on the Tapestry album. I hear each soft tap on the drums, how it falls in sync with the ticking of the second hand on my clock. The bass, how it softens me, like untangling a tight braid. The riff of the guitar, almost hiding from behind, is careful not to outshine the others. It sings along but in whispers. If there was a song for the floating sensation of dreaming, this would be it. It occurs to me that these days, I cope by collecting moments of quiet, when I suddenly fall still and become truly present, as if snapping out of a trance, or perhaps stepping into one. Moments of brief escape when I know that everything around me is still in motion and yet I'm at rest. It is incredibly mesmerizing, for example, to catch myself in the middle of a long exhale, suddenly becoming aware of my own breathing, like shifting into manual mode and regaining control, making the cue of when to inhale again. Or when I catch the moment 10 o'clock becomes 10:01 on my phone, and I feel a sense of rightness, like those numbers were meant to exist beside each other, in that order, so the column in between feels safe, tucked in between the zeros and ones. When I do catch it, I stay until it changes again. In those moments, I become dumbstruck to the expanse of a whole minute, how long it actually is, how quiet it could be if only I wasn't always in a hurry.
Hi, I'm Liam Carroll, and I'm a poet. And my poetry thesis is about me, my father, my grandfather, and my great grandfather. Around the start of fourth year, I had a dream. I was in a funeral procession, and the details of the dream are hazy, but what I do remember is that my lola, my grandfather, was being buried. His body was on a boat, and my father cried. And I woke up from that dream with the simple realization that I never heard my father cry. That realization was the genesis for my poetry collection, which aimed to explore a wider, I suppose, a wider sense of humanity for men, because as far as I know, there isn't enough. I feel like there isn't enough of a space for that kind of freedom, at least. So I'll be reading 2 poems. Hold up 1 second. Sorry, I am borrowing a phone at the moment so I can read my poems. So this first poem is called I Dream I Found You In. The hands were crossed. The hands were by his sides. I think you told me they were there, still clinging onto his arms, or maybe they weren't. You were there when we saw Lolo off. Gone, you said. Forest of veins. He held a rosary. You said that was all of them. Your suit was wrinkled. Mom smoothed them out for you. You smiled. It quivered, or it didn't. Lola lay still. This wasn't real, but you and your brothers carried him on your shoulders. You stood beside Mom. Your sister held onto Lola's hand. She said he'd come today. He must be running late. You set your father down on the water, or he was there, set gently over kindling. I watched you in the quiet. You held Mom's hand, and I stood beside. I looked at you, a glacier marching. You, a glacier, running into water. Mom kept your hand in hers. I left Lola flowers. They weren't real, but you or your brothers pushed them down the river. Or you leaned closer to Mom. Your sister ran after Lola, scared. Where is he? Lola waded in, fingers combing through moonlight. She doesn't know she's like him. Lola sailed on. I looked at you and you got older. The foliage of teeth, like your father up in smoke. I looked at you holding a piece of him, his hands. Like your brothers, your sister, this wasn't real, but he is. If you were dying, I would hold you the same way you would have held your dying father, tenderly. You sunk to the ground, your face in your hands, hidden away like bones, and you cried. You were strong. You calved, your ledges breaking away from your skin, one piece at a time, running from the warmth. Asleep, I watch you, a glacier giving way to water. The second poem is entitled The Promise. From Lola to his wife on January 11, 1972, as witnessed by my great-grandfather. It is a holy task, my love, to count the stars above with the bone of fingers, to think of each glinting in the sea above as my own. We view the stars and below the beloved moon and declare them our sons, the ones above our daughters, the ones beyond their children and their children's children, ours. Ouroboros, that's what we are. So many eyes, all each a life carried, a death awaiting after the glow goes before their name. You reached up and handed me in gentle hands a most tender form of love. I rested my finger in between its palms. It cooed and it smiled, and you smiled. I smiled too. It thought my fingertip a piece of the sun, the lines of my arms and palms a galaxy. My dear, I cradle our love in my arms, our laughter and light flowing to the heavens. The river always flows into the sea. This is how love goes. You taught me that as much. I watch our love sleep in my arms, and I kiss its forehead with the softest of feathers. I promise our love gentleness. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much to all our students, Sergey Lim, Elise Ofilada, Mark Antonio Salonga, Vince Angelo Monese, Sydney Mangubat, and Liam Caro for those really wonderful readings. So now we go to Tata to...
May we now call onto the stage Sir Glenn Mass to present the thesis and creative works of our creating writing majors in the playwriting track and our theater arts majors.
Ladies and gentlemen, may ganun boses. So magandang gabi sa ating lahat. So I am Glenn and I am the playwriting thesis advisor of the playwriting students, syempre, kasi playwriting thesis. So anyway, yun na nga, hindi ako kasya sa screen. Like, hindi rin ako kasya sa doorway, mga ganyan. And my heart is literally bursting with pride like I'm bursting right now. Walang magkasyang damit, pero I'll get the hang of it naman, I think. So ayun siya. So ladies and gentlemen, this year we have three thesis playwrights. At ang nakakatuwa sa creative writing, the genre itself renders itself well to online learning. Kasi usually, di ba, they write naman by their lonesome, ganyan. It's a solitary thing, etc. And once they finish, saka lang kami nagkaklase. So for the most part, ang meetings namin ay one-on-one. So we discussed their plays, etc. And very happy with the bunch this year. So they wrote about many things. Tatlo sila, and they wrote about facing death alone, which is something that I have experienced during the pandemic, and I'm sure kayo din siguro. They also wrote about toxic relationships. Meron din ako nun. So nakaka-relate ako sa kanila. And they also wrote about patiently waiting to be reunited with their loved ones. At nakaka-relate din ako uli doon. So therefore, I enjoyed myself. So we talked about diba, aesthetics nila, etc. It became a personal journey, not only nila, kundi ako din. And natutuwa ako sa kanilang final products. Also pala, before I introduce all of them, this year, we also again have a student na next week ay nasa CCP because pumasa siya. Napili siyang fellow ng Virgin Lab Fest Writing Fellowship Program. So, this early, iniimbitahan din namin kayo. She will write a play under the auspices of the CCP at ipepresent din yun next Sunday sa CCP. So, sana makadalo din kayo. So, having said that, so excited na ako na i-present sila sa inyo. So, they will talk about their plays. So, intro lang naman yung akin. So, ladies and gentlemen, usually pala, during the pre-pandemic, ginaganap ito dito naman, pero doon po ito ginaganap sa Doreen Black Box Theater. So this year, akala namin walang ganito. So natuwa naman din sila nung sinabi na meron tayong final performance ganyan because a play, many people say, is not really a play until it is staged. So, pero this time, instead of may mother hen o father hen, father rooster, hindi ko alam kung anong tawag doon, na nanggugulo sa kanila na ano na, nasan na, rehearsals, ano na, etc. This time, parang they took charge. So, pati sa akin, surprise itong gagawin nila. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you. So, bahala na sila kung paano nila gagawin ito kasi pati ako, surprise nga ito, Sina, Isa, Migo, and Bern. So, I don't know how they will go about this, but here they are.
Hello. Yes. Good evening, everyone. I'm Isabella Darang, here to present an excerpt of my thesis play entitled Dalamhati.net. So the play follows one day in the life of the main character, Anna, where she's forced to deal with topics such as grief, loss, and miscommunication because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. The goal I had in mind while writing this play is to essentially capture our current reality and how it has affected our ability to grieve over losses, whether it may be related to COVID or not, and how we communicate with others in the online setup, which has led us to become isolated from each other. So the excerpt will be in the form of a stage reading to be done by Mary France Manlutak and Sergey Lim. And it is taken from the third scene, 4 p.m., and is meant to depict a video call. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy.
Hello?
Oh my God, Anna. There's something I wanted to talk to you about.
Yes, what is it, Red?
Well, I was wondering kung kamusta na kayo ni Stacy.
Stacy? Again? Parang lahat kayo sa barkada, tinawagan ako today to talk about Stacy, ah. Are you guys ganging up on me? I thought you were on my side, Red.
I am! I mean, it's complicated, okay?
Anong complicated? What do you mean?
Hindi ko ma-explain right now, pero you really need to talk to her, Anna.
Well, alam mo nang sasabihin ko, Red.
She can't, Anna.
She can't? Really?
That doesn't sound like the Stacy I know that will do anything and everything to get what she wants. Ano bang pinagdaraanan niya at hindi niyo masabi-sabi sa akin, ha?
All I can tell you is that it's bad.
Really? Well, I'll tell you what's bad. My mom tested positive for COVID, Red. There.
Oh my
Is
gosh.
that bad enough?
I'm so sorry, Anna.
Exactly. Kaya okay na ba yung reason ko for not wanting to reach out? It's like you're all conveniently forgetting that she's the one who hurt me and not the other way around. I'm sure whatever Stacy is going through isn't like what I'm going through right now.
I wouldn't say that.
What do you mean?
Basta, she's basically in the same boat as you.
Ano bang ibig mong sabihin? May na-COVID din sa family niya?
Parang ganun na nga.
Well, kung ganun nga, edi pwede namang siya yung mag-reach out, di ba? I'm so tired of making the first move, Red. Siya naman, please.
Ana naman.
What? What, Red?
I...
If you have nothing else to say, I'm hanging up.
No, wait. Ana.
Ano, Red? I'm waiting.
Okay. I'll tell you what's wrong with Stacy.
Finally.
She...
What, Red? I don't have all day.
She has...
What? COVID? Red. Red, hindi ito magandang joke.
I'm sorry, Anna. It's true.
What?
May COVID si Stacy.
What are you talking about, Red?
Critical condition na siya ngayon. Lumalaraw yung symptoms niya kahit na-confine.
Kailan pa?
Sinabi na sa amin ni James, nung weekend lang, din kasi dinala siya dito sa Manila from Pampanga. Ni-request daw ni Stacy na wag sabihin sa atin kasi hindi naman daw seryoso yung una. Pero lumalaraw ang last week yung condition niya, kaya ayun, pumayag na siya na sabihin tayo. Sorry.
Saang hospital siya naka-confine?
Sa ano? Sa St. Luke's. Or Anna.
Bye, Red.
So, hello. So, sino na po yung susunod? Dire-diretso na lamang po. So, yeah. So, please. Okay. So, here is Migo to introduce his play. Go, Migo.
Galing, hindi tayo last. Hello, everyone. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Migo Fahatin. I'm not too good with introductions, so bear with me, please. Anyways, my thesis play is about masculinity, and to give you guys a brief synopsis, it's about a marriage that's falling apart due to one party not wanting to have a kid and the other party entering the marriage with the intention of having children. They realize a bit late into their marriage that the marriage fundamentally doesn't work. It can't work due to their differences and the unresolved issues of the male bleeding into how he deals with the relationships in his life. That's all, thanks. And actually, I should probably explain why I chose this particular excerpt. This is the point where the male in the marriage loses all power over it. So, yeah.
Good luck, Eli.
Thank you.
Nagluto ka na naman? Para saan to?
Wala naman. Nag-iisip lang.
Anong iniisip mo?
Mahal kita.
We've been through this already.
Look, no. This is different.
How?
Ayoko talaga magkaroon ng anak.
So what? Do you want me to just accept that?
So why can't you?
Because it's unfair to me.
Well, unfair naman din naman sa akin na pinipilit mo ako, hindi ba?
Do you think I don't know that?
Okay, look. Alam ko naman na alam mo.
Then what's the point of having this conversation?
Gusto lang kita kausapin tungkol
You,
dito.
you wanna shut up? Alam mo, dapat talaga pinag-usapan natin to bago tayo nagpakasal.
Hindi ba pwedeng dating
You
pag-usapan
wanna
na yun?
shut up? Hindi na natin to pwede pag-usapan ngayon. I'm sorry, pero I can't just go with what you want. Gusto ko ng pamilya. A complete one. Gusto kong magmahal sa lahat ng paraan na minahal ako ng magulang ko. I want a home na pwede kong balik-balikan after a long and stressful day of work. Kailangan ko ng kasiguraduhan.
Okay, so tingin mo ba di ko mabibigay sa'yo yun?
Can you?
Bakit hindi?
We can't just keep dancing around it.
Oh my God. Hindi kita talaga maintindihan. What do you want?
What if we fall out of love?
What?
What if you stop loving me? Aalis ka na lang? Makakaalis ka lang ba?
What are you talking about? Wait, teka lang. Paano kung ngayon lang to? Okay? Paano kung in the far future, our future, paano kung biglang gusto ko din pala ng baby?
Are you fucking serious right now?
Oh, kung bibigyan mo ako ng oras para pag-isipan yun, oo naman.
Anong klaseng request yan? Did you actually think you having a fucking epiphany that you'd maybe consider having a baby would change anything? God, Mark!
Pero Marie, come on.
Do I really have to spell it out for you? Eh, hindi mo ba talaga maintindihan or nagtatanga-tangahan ka lang talaga? You're a fucking coward. Ang duwag-duwag mo. Gusto mo lagi kang may out sa lahat ng sitwasyon na pinapasok mo, and that's why the thought of having a baby just fucking terrifies you. Kinasal na tayo. That's supposed to be a lifelong commitment, pero for whatever reason, exit plan pa rin ang sa utak mo. I'm sorry. Pagod na ako. Paikot-ikot na lang tayo while trying to convince each other when we don't really need to. We have that option.
So what? So, ito na talaga yun.
I won't deny it. May mga oras na inisip ko that we could still fix this. I briefly considered just going with what you want. That way, we could still kind of be happy. But I really can't do that. Neither of us need to do that.
I'm sorry.
End scene.
Go, Bern.
Hello. Isang mapagpalayang araw sa lahat. Ako si Bern, 4th year galing sa creative writing na nagtatrack sa playwriting. Para sa thesis ko, sinikap kong isulat ang karanasan ng mga desaparecido sa Pilipinas, pati na ng kanilang mga pamilya. Dumating sa isip ko ang kwento dahil desaparecido ang tito ko na si Jonas Burgos. 15 years na siyang nawawala. Sa dulang isinulat ko, base sa mga kwentong desap, makikita sa isang absurdong tagpuan ang dalawang desaparecidos na si Maya at si Jella, kung saan maririnig ang kanilang hapis, alaala at sakripisyo. Para ito sa lahat ng desaparecidos, ilitaw ang mga nawawala. Ngayon, nandito si Bien Dator bilang Jella at si Kit Andres bilang Maya upang magbasa ng sipi mula sa ang mga misteryo ng hapis ng desaparecidos.
Hindi ka nila pinagaling? Hindi ba to ospital?
Ewan. Kung ospital man, basta walang ibang tao. Tayo lang.
Paanong hindi mo alam ang araw? Paanong hindi gagaling yung sugat ko? Anong tayo lang? At bakit ako maniniwala sa'yo?
O magsisinungaling.
Malay ko ba kung ginagago pa rin nila ako? Baka mamaya kasama ka nila.
Pinakita ko naman yung mga sugat ko sa'yo, di ba? Tumigil na yung pagdugo. Pero nandiyan pa rin. Masakit pa rin.
Tama na, please. Huwag mo na akong lokohin. Pagod na ako.
Hindi kita masisisi na ayaw mong maniwala. Kahit ako noon, pagkarating ko dito, takot na takot ako. Kala ko rin baka dinala na ako sa ospital dahil sa lala ng kondisyon ko. Hindi ko alam kung anong susunod na gagawin sa akin. Pero walang dumating, walang nangyari.
Wala na?
Masaya ako nung una. Hindi na ako sasaktan. Walang hahawak o gagalaw sa akin, pero nakakabaliw din pala dito. Yung nakakulong, makakalimutan mo talaga yung mundo. Makakalimutan mo nabubuhay ka o na nabuhay ka.
Natatakot ako. Lalabas ako. Bakit ayaw bumukas? Bumukas ka! Buksan niyo to!
Hindi bubukas yung pinto. Mamaya pa.
Mamaya? Bubukas mamaya.
Oo. Saan ka ba galing?
Hindi ko alam. Nakapiring ako, nung inalis nila na sa madilim na kwarto lang ako. Hindi ko alam.
Bago ka nila dukutin?
Pauwi galing sa rally.
Saan?
Sa Diliman.
Malapit lang kami doon. Sana ayos lang pamilya ko.
Ako naman sa Maynila.
Pero matagal na akong di nakauwi sa amin eh.
Saan ka nakatira bago mapunta rito?
Sa probinsya. Sa Bulacan.
Anong ginawa mo doon? Di ba sabi niyo kanina may iba pa?
Ha?
Sabi niyo kanina may iba pang nandito.
Sila. Pagkarating ko rito, nandito na si Kajan at si Ina. Si Ina, kaedad mo lang siguro yun. Bata pa, estudyante rin. Estudyante ka rin, di ba? Si Ina, yun yung pinakamatagal nun. Pero pinakabata. Panahon pa raw siya ni Makoy. Tapos si Kajan, nung panahon naman ni Corinne na padpad dito. Parang ikaw, galing yun sa kaguluhan. Mula sa picket line ng manggagawa. Si Kajan nga naglinis ng mga sugat ko eh. Kinwento rin nila sa akin na may mga nauna pa pero di ko na inabutan yun.
Saan po sila nagpunta? Tumakas?
Yung iba, sinundo. Swerte yung sinundo. Sila yung nahanap na mahal nila na sa buhay, nakabalik sa tunay na mundo.
Teka, hindi ba to tunay?
Yung iba pa, wala. Lumabas ng pintuan ng sila lang. Kasi kapag tumakas ka, siguradong patay ka. Sa kwarto lang nakahinto ang oras. Dito lang nakahinto ang oras. Kapag lumabas ka, hakabulin ka ng oras na natakasan mo dito sa loob. Mabilis yung pagdugo at paglala ng mga galos sa labas. Kaya kung lumabas ka, para ka na rin nagpamatay. Walang nakakatakas ng hindi sinusundo.
Bakit ka naman magpapakamatay sa labas?
Desisyon nila yun. Na umalis dito. Si Ina, yung ginawa niya pagkaalis ni Kajan, sigurado dahil mas ayos pang mamatay minsan kaysa maghirap ng ganitong katagal. Maghintay ng ganitong katagal. Sino nga bang maghihintay ng ganitong katagal?
Di ba, ikaw, Ate Maya, matagal na kayo rito?
Oo. Panahon ni Arroyo.
Bakit nandito ka pa? End scene.
So ayun po yung tatlong thesis playwrights with samples of their works. Hindi ko alam ngayon kung paano kayo magkakaroon ng kopya nung full copies ng mga plays nila kasi yun nga, may pandemic. So, ayun siya. Ang kagandahan sana, hindi ko alam, baka at some point, sana isubmit nila mga dula nila either sa ENTA, sa TA, etc. para ma-stage ang mga ito at mapanood natin ang kabuuan ng kanilang pinaghirapang mga thesis plays. So, ayun po. Ngayon naman, I am also the Theater Arts Program Coordinator of the school. Ang thesis advisor nila sa Theater Arts ay wala ngayon dito dahil naghahanda naman siya para sa kanyang biyahe papuntang Amerika dahil siya ay mag-MFA ngayong school year. So siya po si Gilan Luarca na nananalo this year ng Gawad Rolando S. Tino para sa Tagasalin or ng NCCA. It's a big prize for translators. So ayun siya. So busy siya. So ako ang kanyang inatasan na i-introduce ang isa sa kanyang mga estudyante sa thesis. So mga kaibigan, para ipaliwanag sa atin kung ano ang kanilang mga ginawa. Although tapos na rin i-showcase ang kanilang mga projects online at napanood ko rin ang kanilang mga projects. So narito po ang he comes highly recommended by Professor Emeritus Ricardo G. Abad dahil bago pa man siya graduate, kinuha na siyang empleyado ng Arete. So ladies and gentlemen, the LSAA winner for directing this year, please welcome Robert Bradley Howe!
Maraming salamat, Sir Glenn. Hello po, good evening po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Bradley, isa pong directing major ng Theater Arts. Ano po ba masasabi ko? Aaminin ko po sa inyo, nahirapan po kami in the 2 years. Kasi theater requires space at nawalan po kami ng space. So sinubukan po namin online kahit hirap na hirap po kami. At pagdating ho ng thesis, we still felt lost. Super lost pa rin kami. Kasi wala pa rin yung space na pinag-aaralan namin. Lahat online, lahat hypothetical. At nung nag-thesis na kami, sabi nga po ng thesis advisor namin, si Sir Gilan Luarca, sige, sumubok tayo, tuloy, tindig. Subok lang ng subok. Tingnan natin kung ano mahanap natin. At sa 4 po kaming directing majors, nahanap po namin yun, one way or another. At kahit papaano ho, sumubok pa rin ho kami. Kumuha ho kami ng, I think naging actors din po namin yung mga kapwa po naming estudyante. So kung hindi po kayo nakakain dahil may shooting po sila, pasensya na po, kami po may kasalanan nun. At marami din hong paghihirap na hanggang sa madaling araw, nagsushoot pa rin ho sila sa mga kwarto nila. Hindi ho nila naiiwan yung mga karakter nila dahil nasa bahay lang din ho sila. Dati ho, pwede ho kaming mag-debrief nung nandito ho kami. Pero nung online, nawala ho lahat yon. Kaya hirap na hirap ho kami. Nawala din ho yung community ho namin sa teatro nung nag-online. Pero yun nga ho, kagaya ho ng sinabi ho ng aming pinakamamahal na Fine Arts Department, sila Sir Glenn, lahat ho sila, sinuportahan ho kami para sabihing subok, tuloy, kung ano-anong matripan namin, gawin namin, subukan namin. Kasi baka may mahanap tayong bago, mas maganda, para sa kinabukasan ng teatro. Para baka sakaling yung mga projects ho namin na nagawa for our thesis na online, baka madala ho namin yung mga ibang techniques dito ho, on-site, pagbalik ho natin on-site. At pabalik na ho tayo on-site. At we're very happy about that. Unfortunately po, since 4 nga po kaming directing majors, yung 3 ho, hindi po nakapunta kung nanonood sila. Hello. Pero naka-prepare ho kami ng maikling video to show you kung ano po yung trinabaho ho namin in the past year, kung ano ho yung pinaghirapan ho namin at pinagpaguran, at yung mga methods na ginamit ho namin para ma-achieve ho yung thesis namin. Yung thesis ho namin, hanggang bukas na lang ho, may Facebook page ho kami na lalabas din ho dito. So kung gusto nyo hong panoorin, nandun lang po siya. Maraming salamat po. Panoorin po natin yung video.
Hello, my name is Andy Villegas, and I'm the director, dramaturg, and playwright of A Noble State of Tension. A Noble State of Tension is a devised piece loosely based on George Bernard Shaw's Saint Joan and further developed through a method known as actor source playwriting. And this method is known for a workshop phase where participants are able to play games and go through exercises that are based on either key themes or ideas or characters or plot points from the original source material in an effort to generate material that is both relevant and personal. The final piece itself follows a young woman of faith struggling with questions and doubts about God when, in a moment of crisis, she is visited by the spirit of Joan of Arc, who takes her on a journey of exploration and dialogue. The play seeks to explore the tensions that exist when trying to find answers to questions about things that are unknowable. In this case specifically, the divine.
You know what, Ryan? I know people who could pray for you. And you have a daily novena in your name. I was like,
Huy, magpasalamat ka, nagdodobina sila para sa...
Oh my god!
Sorry, I'm such a big problem. I need a novena in my name. Sorry, I'm a problem, apparently.
My gosh! Dude,
So yeah,
I am so sorry.
Well, it's alright. It was 6 years ago.
Well, that's what you get for talking about sexuality in church, man.
So ano, kasalanan ko? I felt
Di
close to the
naman.
guy. And
No, wait. Okay, here's the thing. It's not your fault, but also, Lance has a point. What did you expect?
ewan ko. Well, definitely I didn't expect that kind of response, diba? I mean, si Nora, and I tell her the story, she didn't react that way, and you're also Christian, diba?
Yeah.
So, okay, to this day, I don't really understand. Like, so what's the big deal? Like, it's not like I'm a totally different person. Like, I'm still me. I'm just bi. It's not a big...
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a tricky thing for people, you know?
Okay, but, okay, years of Christian education. Alright, isn't the point of the Bible supposed to be about love, right? So isn't that the whole thing with Jesus, that he died for us so that we could be happy and all that?
Well, yes and no.
So, okay, yes and no. So, but
Which is it?
Does Jesus want us to be happy?
With Loss is an anthology that explores grief across different cultural and linguistic contexts. Through the portrayal of real-life accounts and documentary texts, the performance attempts to rediscover, acknowledge, and reflect on what it means to be in our current shared state of constant, permanent grief and loss. You can watch With Loss now on www.withloss.com.
Hello, I am Nika Davila and I'm the director of Imahen. Imahen is an adaptation of Tomas Remigio's Mga Santong Tao. This adaptation aims to deconstruct Remigio's original script, which was originally intended to criticize the oppressive Spanish colonization. In contrast to this, Imahen is a realist retelling of the original text that instead aims to highlight the female experience. Imahen is a series of stylized imageries that deliberately pokes fun at the original story and ultimately tells a new story altogether. By utilizing this male-written text and employing surrealism, Imahen seeks to reclaim and transform Remigio's Mga Santong Tao. The process behind Imahen consisted of countless attempts of figuring out how to reconstruct Remigio's original text. This included experimentations with the filming of our clips and discussions with our actors and our stage manager during rehearsals, which further refined and informed the overall approach to this play. A lot of playing was involved in the first few stages of the production, from which we have learned to embrace what is out of the ordinary and to deliberately be random. From all this, we zeroed in on destruction as a central theme. Destruction of commonplace objects and even the destruction of commonly used methods of storytelling, subsequently borrowing ideas from anarcha-feminism. In this way, Imahen seemingly destroys or vandalizes Tomas Remigio's original script to reconstruct it to highlight the female experience, and consequently reclaiming this male written text.
Intramuros, the old Manila, the original Manila, the noble and ever loyal city.
Hello, I am Joseph Garay, Director of Contramundo. Contramundum is a deconstruction of Nick Joaquin's A Portrait of the Artist as Filipino. It attempts to unravel and unearth portraits' less explored spiritual core of death.
Mananatili tayo dito hanggat tayo't mamatay. Ikaw, ako, at si Papa. Oh, si Papa.
Inspired by the Japanese philosophies of Buto and No, Contramundum aims to show these sort of sisters as these specters that roam whatever is left of their old and ruined household. They see multiple old Manilas get toppled by new Manilas, and they also see these new Manilas get turned into old Manilas, and the cycle just keeps on going. And yet here they still are, essentially Filipino spirits that are still yearning for justice from a time that has completely left them in the dark hundreds of times over.
Paula! Candida! Tumayo kayo sa piling ng inyong Papa! Tabihan niyo si Lorenzo! Contramundo!
Thank you to our creative writing, playwriting track students, Isabella Darang, Migo Fahatin, Bernardine de Belen, and theater arts student, Robert Bradley Howe.
Okay, for our intermission number, we have our very own Laura Cabochan, one of the faculty members of the Fine Arts Department. Laura graduated from the Ateneo de Manila University, summa cum laude, and then she won the prestigious Fulbright Award and applied to join the MA in Applied Theater at the CUNY School of Professional Studies. She then won the CUNY CAT SPS Apprenticeship for Diversity in Applied Theater. So let's listen to Laura sing for us Someday from the Hunchback of Notre Dame and Liwanag sa Dilim by River Maya. Thank you.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. May 2 taon na po akong hindi kumakanta ng live. Kaya feeling ko posible, mataas yung possibility na magkakalat po ako. So isa-set ko yung expectations by telling a joke. Para hindi mawala rin yung nervyos ko. Okay. What is a pirate's favorite subject? Art! Okay, pwede na. Okay na po.
I used to believe in the days I was naive that I'd live to see a day of justice dawn. And though I will die long before that morning comes, I'll die while believing still it will come when I am gone. Someday, when we are wiser, when the world's older, when we have learned, I pray someday we may yet live to live and let live. Someday life will be fairer, need will be rarer, greed will not pay. Godspeed this bright millennium on its way. Let it come someday. When the world's older, when things have changed, someday these dreams will all be real. Till then we'll wish upon the change will come one day, someday soon.
Thank you po. So yung susunod na kanta, Liwanag sa Dilim. So inaanyayahan ko kayong kumanta kung gusto nyo rin. Tapos aaminin ko, Usually, sa kwarto ko lang ako nag-ukulele. Kaya medyo strange yung feeling ngayon na ipe-play ko in public. At kung pinapublic ko man, usually elementary school students ang kasama ko, kaya medyo mas forgiving sila na audience. So, anyway, sinasabi sa akin na Laura, palagi kang nagdi-disclaimer. Totoo po yun. Kaya embrace na lang natin ang katotohanan na yun. Alright. Ituring ang iyong sariling tagahawi ng ulap sa kalangitang kulimlim. Kampanang yayanig sa bawat nilalang, magigising ang lupang kulang sa dilig. Ikaw ang magsasabing, kaya mo to, tulad ng isang tanglaw sa gitna ng bagyo. Isigaw mo sa hangin, tumindig at magsilbing liwanag, liwanag sa dilim. Harapin mong magiting ang ating awitin. Ikaw ang liwanag sa dilim. At sa paghamon mo sa daloy ng ating kasaysayan, uukit ka ng bagong daan. Oh, ikaw ang aawit ng kaya mo to, isang panalangin sa gitna ng gulo. Isigaw mo sa hangin, tumindig at magsilbing liwanag, liwanag sa dilim. Harapin mong magiting ang bagong awitin. Liwanag, liwanag sa dilim. Sigaw mo sa hangin, tumindig at magsilbing liwanag sa dilim. Harapin mong magiting ang bagong awitin. Liwanag! Isigaw mo sa hangin, tumindig at magsilbing liwanag, liwanag sa dilim. Harapin mong magiting ang bagong awitin. Ikaw ang liwanag sa dilim. Liwanag sa dilim. Liwanag! Thank you po.
Thank you very much, Miss Laura Cabutian. May we now call on Fonzie Solyonko to present the thesis and creative works of our information design majors.
Standing by. Patay microphone. Okay, sige.
Hello? Okay. All right. Hello, good evening. That was my first edit from the script. It is now evening. Hello, I am Fonzie Solyonko. I am from the ID program. I'm here on behalf of Ms. Smile Indias, our program coordinator, who unfortunately could not be here tonight. She sends her regrets and gratitude that you have come over here to celebrate the work of our students. Work that is a product of the rigorous process of research, ideation, and development through testing and iteration. And while the medium and platforms may vary from one project to another, they all stem from a genuine curiosity about the social concern they want to investigate in the hopes of addressing it and improving the lives of those affected by it. This is what we think sets the ID program apart. That we teach designers to listen to their audience, that even during a challenging time like this, our ID majors continue to practice design with empathy. We are proud of that tradition. Similarly, the Fine Arts Festival is one of our beloved traditions and one that had been scaled down significantly over the past 2 years. Still, we are delighted and proud to have the opportunity to showcase the works of our students today in person. There is a lot to celebrate. There's a certain undercurrent of triumph and humility with the batch of projects this year. After all, the students that produced them have spent the longest time in quarantine, diligently honing their skills and expanding knowledge in the safety and isolation of their homes since the second half of their sophomore year. Despite all the hurdles and hardships, they have managed to produce remarkable work, a testament to their growth as students and designers. The information design program used to only be 40 students strong. That was a little over a decade ago. Now it has almost doubled that size. What started as a thesis project that mostly involved print design and print materials have expanded across various media and platforms, and today's showcase is no different. To the parents and guardians of our ID students, thank you for trusting us with your children. We are excited to see the good they'll continue to do outside our classrooms. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Hills, hide, hide. Hills, hide, hide.
Okay, so thank you and congratulations to all the students and faculty members of the ID program. Now we'll have Bianca Maalat, one of our faculty members from the AM program, and she's going to introduce, the thesis and creative works of the AM majors. Thank.
Hello. Good evening to everyone. Sige, bigyan niyo naman ng energy. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so sabi ko this pandemic transformed me. Yung energy ko iba na siya. So yeah, we're the smallest, no? We're the smallest course in the fine arts program. This also being a very special batch for me because this was the very first batch. This is the first batch na pag-graduate ko. Napakasaya pala ng feeling na makapag-graduate ng mga bata. So congratulations, Isabel and Alyssa and Alexis, who is not here. So, handling this batch, it was sort of figuring out things, how to go about with things, no? If I may use pagkakarpentero terms, nagitong journey ng pagporma, pag-asintado at pagsasalugar, which is very ironic kasi how do you go about with curatorial projects kung wala kang lugar, kung wala kang espasyo? Pero ito ay naging itong resulta ng kanilang mga thesis, which we have here, micro exhibits by my students. Nag-iitong pagsasalugar ng mga talakayan, ng mga katanungan na sa palagay ko ay napapanahon. So we have Isabel's thesis on textile as mnemonic, tackling the works of Pat Perez Eustaquio, and also the themes of individual and cultural memory. We have the thesis of Alyssa Chua, who wrestles with tensions in the works of Lav Diaz as they interface, of course, with Philippine social realities and how curatorial programming can respond to these things. And lastly, we have Alexis Osenia, na I feel like was very, in a way, she was very challenged by the topic that she chose, because she chose to handle the idea of locating an aesthetic in the laws that were formulated on censorship during the time of martial law. So how did this form an aesthetic, and how did the works of Lino Broca sort of respond to these laws as well? So I am very proud of my students. I feel like nakailang send-off na kami. So if you guys have time, of course, you can just browse through their monographs that they have here sa micro-exhibit nila. So congratulations to my 3 students, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Bianca. Our next performer is a Filipino.
Before we go to our final performance, we'll listen to Attorney Cedric Santiago was tasked by Dean Jonathan Chua to read his message for this particular event. So, Attorney Cedric Santiago is from the School of faculty member from the School of Management and the Department of Fine Arts.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So I'm not Dean Jonathan Chua. He's more what he calls better looking, but I'll read his message to all the fine arts students graduating. So my congratulations to this batch of fine arts seniors. You come to your final year at the Ateneo de Manila at an auspicious time for the department. As some of you are aware, the department recently obtained accreditation from the Philippine Accrediting Association of Schools, Colleges, and Universities, or PASCU. That came after years of preparation and despite the setback from a preliminary visit under the leadership of the department's previous chair, Mr. Martin Villanueva. In addition, Martin, where you take a bow. In addition, the creative writing program of the department also passed the assessment of the ASEAN Universities Network, or AUN. That means that your program is at par with the creative writing programs of other universities in the ASEAN region. That too owes to Mr. Villanueva, who was and remains the coordinator of the creative writing program. But even without external validation and despite the pandemic, the programs have been lively and their products livelier. As a visitor of many a fine arts festival over the years, I can attest to that fact. I am confident that this year's harvest is going to be as rich and promising as the past years were. There is much then that should bolster you as you leave the world of school and enter the world of work and beyond. Just take with you the reminder that art is the anchor and art is your succor. Do not misuse or abuse it, but be good at it. My best wishes to all the fine arts majors and my thanks to the faculty and staff of the Fine Arts Department, currently led by Father Jason D. Good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Cedric. Now, our next performer is a Filipino singer-songwriter who has certain hits for upcoming and seasoned Filipino artists. He is a 2010 PhilSCAP Songwriting Competition Grand Prize winner with his song of hope, Wag Mong Isipin. He is a regular talent at the Jesuit Music Ministry. Please welcome to the stage, Toto Sorioso.
Magandang gabi po sa inyo. Ako po si Toto, and thank you for having me this evening. Gaya nga nasabi ng host, ako isang artist din ng Jesuit Music Ministry, and thank you kay Father Jason for inviting me to perform for you. Isa pong karangalan na mag-perform kasama ng mga napakaraming mahuhusay na creative minds dito sa Ateneo. So, medyo pressure din. So, okay, for my first song, I'd like to do a song originally popularized by Noel Cabangon and the band Buklod. And I guess it is only appropriate kasi since marami sa atin mag-graduate or nag-graduate na or pag-graduate na, and it's nice to look back on our experiences sa school kahit medyo kakaiba itong naranasan natin for the past 2 years. So I guess I hope this song helps you reminisce every time you hear it. So hope you like this song. It's called Kanlungan. Panapanahon ng pagkakataon, may babalik bang kahapon? Natatandaan mo pa ba nung tayong dalawa'y unang nagkita, panahon ng kamusmusan, kapiling ng mga bulaklak at halaman, doon tayo nagsimula mangarap at tumula. Tatandaan mo pa ba? Inukit kong puso sa punong mangga, at ang inalay kong gumamela, maghahawak kamay sa dalampasigan, malayang tulad ng mga ibon, ang gunita ng ating kahapon. Lumilipas ang panahon, kabiyak ng ating gunita, ang mga puno't halaman, bakit kailangang lumisan? Panapanahon ng pagkakataon, may babalik bang kahapon? Ngayong ikaw ay nagbalik, at tulad ko rin ng iyong pananabik, makita ang dating kanlungan, tahanan ng ating tula at pangarap, ngayon ay naglaong na. Saan nahanapin pa? Lumilipas ang panahon, kabiyak ng ating gunita, ang mga puno't halaman, bakit kailangang lumisan? Lumilipas ang panahon, kabiyak ng ating gunita, ang mga punot halaman. Bakit kailangang lumisan? Panapanahon ang pagkakataon, may babalik bang kahapon? Salamat. Thank you. And in a way, happy homecoming sa mga muling nakabalik dito sa Arete. Again, thank you for having me. My name is Toto Seryoso. Thank you it's an honor to sing for you in this Fine Arts Festival 2022. So, nabay tuloy-tuloy pa siya. For my last song, okay lang mo ba? Like me to sing one more song? Nakakain na naman kayo. So, medyo hihingi ako ng konting audience participation for this next song. Isa po siyang original. Share ko lang sa inyo. Isa siyang kanta na sinulat, na-inspire nung panahon na nagkaroon ng Undoy, yung malakas na bagyo nung mga 2009, 2008. So, na-inspire po, hindi naman na-inspire, pero parang na-udyok ako na magsulat ng kanta tungkol sa pag-asa. So, sana po maibigay niyo itong kanta na ito. Isang kanta pamagat po, Huwag Mong Isipin. At pwede niyo ba akong sabayan? Sa simula lang naman, or feel free to join me anytime you feel like doing it. Para mag-burn tayo ng konting calories. Pwede niyo ba ako sabayan? Konting palakpak na merong beat. So, ganito lang naman. Kaya okay, this is Huwag Mong Isipin. Huwag mong isipin na wala ka nang magagawa. Huwag mong sabihin hindi. Kaya pa nating abutin ng imposible. Di naman kailangang magmadali. Ating pag-usapan, maghinay-hinay lang. Teka, pwede ba? Huwag mong isipin, huwag mong sabihin nung wala ng paraan. Kung nanaisin, kung sisikapin, may mararating. Huwag kang mabahala, huwag mangamba. Hanapin mo ang iyong katotohanan kung nasaan. Sinong nagsasabing hanggang dito lang ang kaya mo? Ano ang kanilang pakialam? Wala namang kailangang patunayan pa sa kanila. Sino bang dapat mong sundan? Buksan ang iyong isipan, ang puso'y pakinggan, at may malalaman. Kaya't huwag mong isipin, huwag mong sabihin nung wala ng paraan. Kung nanaisin, kung sisikapin, may mararating. Huwag kang mabahala, huwag kang mangamba. Hanapin mo ang iyong katotohanan kung nasaan. Kaya pa natin ayusin ito. Kung magkasama, hahamakin ang lahat.
Hanapin mo mang iyong katotohanan. Huwag mong isipin, huwag mong sabihin na wala ng paraan. Kung nanaisin, kung sisikapin, may mararating. Huwag mong isipin, huwag mong sabihin na wala ng paraan. Kung nanaisin, kung sisikapin, may mararating. Huwag kang mabahala, may pag-asa pa. Hanapin mo ang iyong katotohanan. Hanapin natin ang katotohanan. Kung nasaan, kung nasaan, huwag mong isipin na wala ka nang magagawa. Huwag mong sabihin hindi. Never say never. Yeah. Maraming salamat. Magandang gabi po. Thank you.
Maraming salamat, Sir Totoy Seryoso. At nandito na po tayo, mga kapatid. Nagbabalik na naman ang mga residents ng Bikini Bottom. Ako lang pala yun.
Yes, so this is technically the end of the program, but
we made it.
We're inviting everyone to stay for the group photo, right?
Yes.
Sabi ni Father.
But before that, we'd also like to invite you on June 14 for Art Speak as part of the Arts Festival for artists, creatives, and art educators from the Consorcio Erasmus Cartes Spain will present their respective research and creative practices online via Zoom. So this is on Tuesday.
Yeah, this will happen from 2 to 4.
Yes.
Right, okay. This Art Speak will be co-presented by the Ateneo Art Gallery, Erasmus Plus, and the ADMU Office of International Relations. So,
thank you very much for joining us.
yes, and what else? We're supposed to show the slide for the acknowledgements. For a list of people, you know, and institutions that made this event possible. Do we have that?
Slide away.
Yes, so you have it there. We're not going to read everything, but yeah.
Maraming salamat sa lahat.
Maraming salamat.
Everyone that would like to join us for a group photo. Everyone, faculty, students, baba niyo muna yung mga lollipop chicken lollipop. O kahit dalhin niyo na rin. Sige, go.
Oo, carry lang yan.
Bye, everyone. Have a fun
everyone.
graduation. Clear your hold orders. Everyone, yung mga kanta nyo sa karaoke, just give it to our table there para ma-line up yung songs nyo.